Welcome to the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. She Speaks to Inspire is an empowering public speaking podcast for women with public speaking fear. Unlike other podcasts on public speaking, She Speaks to Inspire not only gives you tips to be a confident communicator under pressure, but also helps you regulate your nervous system for less anxiety, learn lifestyle practices to reduce burnout and overwhelm, and reconnect with your feminine leadership presence for more authenticity and comfort in your skin. I believe it's the quiet ones, especially the quiet women, who have the most important ideas. I believe the world really does need your voice. So let's dive in. We're here today to talk about what if you're interrupted or talked over? How are you going to handle that? It can be the most frustrating thing and feel like the most disrespectful thing when someone speaks over you, when they cut you off. It seems like they're not respecting your opinion and perspective and not valuing you, right? It's easy to start beating yourself up. I should have taken charge. I should have said this. I should have said that. And maybe you're the kind of introverted woman who really needs some time to find her thoughts. So it's very frustrating that you can't get your thought out faster. Maybe you hit those blank out moments, you stumble over your words, and that's when someone in the room that has a little bit more certainty, comes in and cuts you off. It can be the same personalities over and over again that keep pushing your boundaries. And it's worth mentioning that a lot of times, even today, it's men that will cut off women. It's men that will talk over women. It's a masculine culture in a company that will be challenging for a woman to find her way through. That is a generalization, but I hear it from a lot of women in male-dominated industries, so I wanted to speak to it. As we dive into this topic of how to handle when somebody interrupts you or talks over you, we're going to go through several things. First of all, we're going to talk about what it means about you that you're getting interrupted and what it means about them that they're interrupting you. I think it's really good to take time to reflect on these patterns. Then we're going to talk about the secret ingredient to be taken seriously. What can you do? If you do this one thing, you will be taken more seriously by more people and by men if that's your situation. And we'll talk about the counterintuitive thing you need to do to get your voice heard. Something that you might have been avoiding, but actually is the key to seeing a change with this. So let's dive in. What does it mean about you if you're getting talked over? Just that question might be triggering for you because perhaps you're used to blaming those other people. They shouldn't interrupt me. They should be more respectful. Why don't they understand that I need a moment to think? Why don't they get it? It's easy to blame that other person and get really, really angry. But I find it's more empowering. It's going to give you more energy, more power to turn this around and ask yourself, what is it about me that allows this to happen? And really, if I had to boil it down, it's a lack of certainty in you. Now, what do I mean by that? Certainty is a belief in yourself, a 100% belief that what I have to say is valuable. If you don't 100% believe that, then you're lacking certainty. This will lead you to cower in the face of someone talking louder or talking over you or interrupting you. You'll try to balance the situation out by giving them space and you subtly going away. This is what us nice girls, good girls have been taught, right? This is how we've been conditioned. I'll speak for myself. I was raised in an Italian Catholic family. I was a good girl, cross your legs at the ankles and and only speak if you're spoken to. Don't raise your voice. Be a good girl. Then there's a searching for permission outside yourself. Like, is it okay for me to express now? Is this the right moment? If you If you're waiting for permission, if you're waiting for an opening, you might be waiting forever. So what is it in you that makes you get talked over? If you're waiting for permission, somebody that's not waiting for permission is going to take advantage of the opportunity. This sometimes also has to do with culture. I know that, especially in America, I live in the Bay Area in San Francisco, the culture is everybody for themselves, that values independence, values taking charge, value entrepreneurship and thought leadership. Whereas there are other cultures that value more of the collective and working together. And there might be a different approach to this in those countries. I guess I'm speaking from my own experience in America, how it often goes in corporate culture. The thing is that if you're being interrupted or talked over, it might seem like the other person is at fault, but it's not about them. We can talk about them in a moment, but ultimately it's not about them. It's about you and your fear of being not nice, fear of being impolite, fear of being inappropriate, of being unprofessional, your standards that you're holding within yourself, and that searching for permission that leads to an expression that's not certain. So what is the secret ingredient to being taken seriously? Well, it's something that I already mentioned, but let me say it really clearly. It's having certainty. And certainty is expressed not in your words, but in your nonverbal communication. Certainty is expressed in the crispness of your articulation. Certainty is expressed in the clarity of your gestures. Certainty is expressed in the conciseness of your sentences because you know exactly what you're going to say and you end with an intonation going down. Do you hear it? Certainty is a quality that when someone has it, you feel it. When someone doesn't have it, there's a feeling like, I don't know if I can relax. If you're leading a meeting and you don't have full certainty, if there's somebody else in the audience or in the group that has more certainty than you, they will be likely to take the lead. It's just a natural balancing of energy in the room. If you're supposed to be the leader, but you don't have full certainty, there's a desire from somebody that has more certainty to take charge. It's just a natural balancing. The crazy thing is, it doesn't matter what your role is, what your power level in the company is, how much money you have or have made, or how much experience you have, or degrees, any of that. It doesn't matter. To be taken seriously, you simply need to be certain of your value and of your message, even if your message ends up being wrong in some way. If you express it with certainty from the get-go, you'll win respect and trust from your audience, even if you have to come back and fix something later. Now, certainty doesn't have to be aggressive. It's not about overpowering other people at all. Certainty is just being clear, being direct, knowing who you are, knowing what you have to say. Certainty is respectful because when there's a certain leader in the room, other people get to relax, get to do what they can do best, and you get to do what you do best, which is to have your thought leadership and to lead. So what is the counterintuitive thing that you can do to get your voice heard and avoid being interrupted or being talked over? It's counterintuitive because you probably thought of it, but you don't want to do it. There's lots of things that I could suggest here that go deeper, that really get to the root causes of why you're looking for permission and that whole unraveling the nice girl, good girl conditioning. There's a lot that can be worked on there, and I'll save that for my programs because it just takes more time and more investigation. But for now, I would really encourage you to be willing to interrupt, be willing to cut somebody else off. It sounds hard, right? It sounds like this is the thing I've been avoiding. But as soon as somebody interrupts you, if you are not done, have the strength, have the certainty to cut them off and ask to finish your thought. This will also train the people around you that they need to listen to you, that they can't just walk over you. Because we train people how to treat us. This is also part of personal brand. People will get to know that, okay, she sometimes speaks about what she thinks, but you can sort of get your idea in there and push her around a little bit. They might not respect your ideas because they know that you're not going to hold to it. So how are you going to shift your personal brand? How are you going to train the people around you to value each word that you say? Well, you have to stand up for yourself. So the next time somebody cuts you off or talks over you, be direct. You can say something like, "Thanks, Tom. Let me finish my thought here and then we'll get to your thoughts." Or you could just keep talking. The other person will stop eventually. This is about you deciding how the balance of energy in the room goes instead of being at the whim of a stronger, louder person, especially a stronger, louder male. You don't have to get louder, but you do have to be certain and purposeful. Even talking at a gentle, normal volume, but not letting up when somebody cuts you off, you will assert your power and your value in the room, and the whole dynamic will shift. In fact, I would be surprised if that person would cut you off again, maybe once more. But again, if you hold to your value of yourself and your value of what you have to say, you will train that person very quickly to not do that again. Now, take care of your nervous system along the way. So this might make you feel really, really uncomfortable. I totally understand. You might need to take this in bits and pieces. Maybe you can do it once in a meeting and you work up to doing it twice, work up to it, and then give yourself something really nourishing afterwards, because this might be really unsettling for you. So maybe you give yourself a nice bath that night. Oh, you do something really nourishing for your introverted self, because this was a big risk that you just took. Congratulations. Even if it doesn't go well, even if somebody pushes back on you or gets flustered or angry, stay the course. Value your perspective, value your voice more, and hold the space for yourself to be heard. I hope this was helpful for you to reflect on this pattern in perhaps a different way than you have before. And I hope it will help you to beat yourself up less, be less self-critical, and be more proactive in a way that ultimately empowers you and builds respect and trust around you with your work. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me. And I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you in the next episode.